very simple rules on this. I'm a little chubby, and I can appear to you into different moods by just the way in which I am posing. I can give you an example. For instance, as I have chosen, I'm leaning forward, which gives me movement into the camera or in a direction of the angle, and therefore adds energy and dynamics of action to my pose. Now, because my head and my chest are not in the same line, there is a diagonal here, and my face is ahead of my body. That is called an aggressive or positive angle of movement. Now, I can be here talking to you and reverse that, make the line like this. Automatically my face compresses, my chest comes up, and now I feel like a fat guy. Okay, now I look heavier than what I am. I'm saying the same things with the same interest, but even my body cannot talk with aggression.
And at the same time, as much as what you did there now, what would the camera do?
The camera would have to get down and then get closer. And as it does that, my belly gets larger and my face by perspective gets narrower, and I look bigger and heavier. The first thing I do is I put the camera down. I approach the subject. I say, before I start shooting, I'm going to need your help. And then I tell them what I want them to do. Because of the lighting or whatever conditions I want to say, would you please sit? And then I give them instructions. I usually sit next to them and I say, can you mimic what I'm going to do?
I see.
And I put myself in a way I want them to and say, can you do that? And, so, and then in the moment they start doing this for encouragement, I say, God, it looks great. That's exactly what I was looking for.
So you give them a compliment?
Yes, every time you have to work or control the person's behavior, language, or appearance in any way in a shoot. Do not control the person. Offer the person the choice of controlling that behavior by giving them every positive reinforcement on a direction that you feel it, because that makes them feel good. The better they feel, the more energetic they are, the more comfortable they are, the better they feel, and therefore it's a positive flow. And sometimes they are not sure what, and they get stiff in the process. And if you notice that they are stiff, ignore it, don't pay attention, because you can get stiff very long. But if you say you look stiff, now they know they look stiff and they're going to stay stiff. So ignore what they are doing wrong and continue to nudge in a direction. And then you say, it's looking better. Oh, I love it. Just be happy about the fact that it's looking better. And they are better because they are looking better and everything is cool. It's primarily a psychological dance. And if you don't have that joy and that courage to open up to your subject, what makes you believe that they are going to open up to you?
Oftentimes as a videographer, we just take for granted how people stand and look toward each other. But as a videographer, you should also be a director and try to overcome differences in height if you can. There are many ways to do it. In this first way, of course, we use steps and simply ask the person on the left to stand a little bit lower. Right now, let's take a look at the before and now after we positioned our subject on the steps. Movie directors do this all the time, and there's different ways of doing it. Here's another particular way where Justin is on the slope. The third method is by far my favorite. Take a wide-angle lens on your camera and move the short person close to your camera and go on fully wide. Let's watch this again. Look, they're in the same places, they reverse, and look at the height equalization difference. Then move your camera, if you can, even closer to the shorter person on fully wide. Using this method can make all the difference in the world.
Here's a shot that you can do with a wide-angle lens, a little bit of a long arm, and a slight bit of careful planning to give the illusion that the camera is actually sort of floating over the automobile.
To do this shot, simply lean over the car, making sure your toes are out of the way of the car's tires. Have the car go away slowly into the distance, keeping your camera on fully wide, and if you can, use a wide-angle lens. Try to practice this once or twice before actually doing it. It'll be a lot safer that way. Don't forget that you as the editor have the ability to control the mood and direction of a scene using the power of music. Here's a generic scene first with no music.
We've become incompatible. Now this is nobody's fault. You're a great girl. I'm a terrific guy. We're just on two totally different planes.
What do you mean, like airplanes?
Exactly. Like airplanes.
Now let's look at the same scene, this time adding action suspense music.
I don't know how this happened, but I just feel that somewhere along the line, we've become incompatible. Now, this is nobody's fault. You're a great girl. I'm a terrific guy. We're just on two totally different planes.
What do you mean, like airplanes?
Exactly. Like airplanes.
Next, let's go for humor.
Now, I don't know how this happened, but I just feel that somewhere along the line, we've become incompatible. Now, this is nobody's fault. You're a great girl. I'm a terrific guy. We're just on two totally different planes.
What do you mean, like airplanes?
Exactly. Like airplanes.
Or music can make the scene a love story.
Now, I don't know how this happened, but I just feel that somewhere along the line, we've become incompatible. Now, this is nobody's fault. You're a great girl. I'm a terrific guy. We're just on two totally different planes.
What do you mean, like airplanes?
Exactly. Like airplanes.
In movies like Back to the Future and Jaws and different things, foreshadowing is used all the time. And if you're an event videographer and you're doing bar mitzvahs or graduations or corporate events and stuff, there's the tendency to only shoot documentary style. Well, keep in mind that your viewers are people that watch movies, probably a few every week, and 5 hours of television. So they want to be entertained. A documentary style with just showing what's going on is not always going to hack it. That's why you add in music and you do fast cuts and everything. Well, taking it a step beyond is to think of something that happens at the event, during the event, and then foreshadow it earlier.
Here's an example of where, after a basketball game, we had one of the team members foreshadow something that had already happened. Then, in editing, we put it in before the game.
We won't have any problem at the big game as long as Lorenzo keeps his mouth shut.
Next, in a documentary about musician Jordan Knight, the director has him foreshadow an event that happened with a crane after it already happened. Then it was edited in before the event happened for dramatic effect.
We have a 30-foot crane. The camera's going to be swinging around overhead. The camera's going to come way out, and it looks like we're 50 stories up. Yeah, of course it's dangerous.
Just don't let this thing knock me over.
The key line here is, just don't let that thing knock me over, which of course later here in the video does knock him over. But by adding this foreshadowing, helps add some tension and create a more dramatic effect to the video.
I want you to take a look at a scene from Robert Rodriguez's movie El Mariachi. This movie was done on a $7,000 budget, and that was mainly 90% for film stock. On one particular day, he couldn't afford to hire an actor more than 1 or 2 days. So this scene right here you're seeing with 3 people in it was all shot individual shots with different people, and it was all put together in editing. It's a great example of, on a low budget or a high budget, how you can put together a movie or a scene where you don't necessarily need everybody in the scene. And I think if you remember that, then it allows you to do the scenes you want, not always having to make compromises if you do it well.
Many DVDs like Mariachi have a second audio track of directors' commentary where they give their take on things. This is a great way to learn from great directors.
See, Star, if you live in a town of 15,000 or more people, you have a built-in light setup that can light an automobile or can light a whole bunch of people or can be used as backlight, and you don't have to pay anything for it. As a matter of fact, they usually run 24 hours a day. We're going to show you the secret of what I'm talking about now.
Take a good look at these images. Nice background, nice foreground, well lit, yet it didn't take any effort at all. The secret is, don't bring your lighting to the subjects, bring your subjects to the lighting, a la a gas station. Gas stations are open 24 hours and have fantastic lighting systems that will light up your subject, and as long as you frame the gas station out of view, you'll get a fantastic looking shot. Whether you're shooting for a single person or for a large crowd of people, going down to your local gas station can be a big benefit. In this particular case, the sun wasn't quite set yet, so we got a nice orange glow around our subjects. But it doesn't matter if you're shooting when the sun is setting or if the sun has already set. Either way, gas station lighting is a cheap, easy, affordable way to get impressive lighting effects and impress your videographer friends, as long as you don't tell them the secret behind your success.
And a great majority of these folks fall into basic categories. One is that they compare themselves with the amateur, and so therefore they think that they know more, and then they fall in love with a little bit that they know, and they lock themselves in a very poor environment of knowledge because they are freezing themselves into this little bit of information that they have. Right. There is no room for growth, and then they wonder why. What else is there to do? I know how to do this. I know nose room. I know head room. I know this, I know that, what else is there? It's all the same thing. When you hit that plateau and you accept it, you died. You're just one of all the guys with cameras out there. The other category are the ones that become perfectionists of their concept of what is, that should be. And they get very good at certain techniques and certain things, but they try to fit everything into their point of view. You know, and you can look at a videographer that does the same thing all the time, and they are like an automaton. You almost can't tell where they are going to go. And then you can see the others that they don't know. They are looking. They are discovering right on the job. Take the 2 hours that you watch some football or somebody else doing something. Take that time, go out, make a plan, and go explore everything about one feature of your camera. Surprise yourself with some neat stuff. Have the opportunity to do that yourself, and you are constantly growing. Puts life and zest into your work, and when you go out on an assignment, you have that vitality with you. Play, truly play. I would ask videographers this question: if you didn't have to use the equipment that you have to make a living, to justify the expense, if you could just have that as a toy to play, what would you do? And have the guts to actually go out and do that.
You might have seen commercials lately where part of the picture's out of focus and the rest of the picture's in focus. It's a very popular technique, and it's not that hard to do, and you don't need any special software to do it. As a matter of fact, we're going to show you the secret right now. All it requires is a $15 or $20 clear filter, a Q-tip, and some soap. Hand soap. You just take the hand soap and you apply it, but you leave the shape of the object in the middle clear. And to do this, you get this kind of effect. It's done by screwing the clear filter on your camera and then applying with the Q-tip all around a little bit of the soap. We find it's easier to start with less soap and add a little than it is to subtract, but if you need to subtract, you can add a little water to the Q-tip and you get this kind of effect. It's easiest to do if you get close to the subject and stay fully pulled back with your lens, and you can get a really nice dramatic effect. Then when you're done, you simply take off the clear filter and wash it off. It takes a little practice and experimenting, but the more you work with it, the more fun you'll have with it.
In normal lighting situations, you always hear about the key light and the fill light and the kicker light or the backlight or whatever, and the three-point lighting. That's not, the three-point lighting system has been around for a lot of years, and there's nothing wrong with that, except I used to get a lot of videographers calling me up and saying, well, I know about key, spot, and fill, but how do I use them? And the problem is in discussing three-point lighting like that, it talks about the lighting, but it doesn't talk about what it's lighting or how it's lighting. I came up with a system that's easy to remember that shifts the focus in terms of talking about what you're actually lighting up, and that's called the BAS system. And it purposely starts with background, because I believe you need to light your background first, accent light or a little kicker light to add some edge. Subject is your third, which is the lighting on the main subject. And then the fourth S is for separation, which the accent light can help with. If you have your background and your foreground subject separated, then all you really need to know about basic down and dirty lighting is you're lighting a background first. not second. Everybody tends to light their subject and worry about the background later. So you start with the background light, then your accent separated light, and then you're moving up front to your subject, which is usually, like I am here, the thing up front. And the fourth is separation. You should try to have all these different lights on separately to see how they work separately, and to try as much as possible that they don't bleed into each other.
After watching this video, grab some lights of your own and set them up using the Bass lighting system. You'll see just how easy this can be.